Welcome to the OCOM podcast, Modern Medical Education, where we bring experts to talk about different aspects of modern medical education at each episode. I'm your host, Dr. Robert Hasty. I'm the Dean and the Chief Academic Officer of OCOM, and we have an incredible show today where we're going over a topic that I love, and it's something we've never talked about before, which is women in military medicine. And with us today, we have two of the OCOM rock stars. The first is one of our founding faculty members, Dr. Michelle Wallen. Yeah, welcome, Dr. Wallen.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Great, thanks. And also we have one of our inaugural members of our inaugural class, student Dr. Vanessa Cruz. Welcome to the show, the student Dr. Cruz.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Excellent, excellent. So I thought I would start off, just hearing the stories, and I swear, I think part of being a physician that I love the most is just hearing people's stories, but especially, both of these stories, how they got into military medicine or at least in student Dr. Cruz is on her pathway to, a career in military medicine. But I want to start off with Dr. Wallen. Tell me about your military medicine history.
Yeah, so mine is the very untraditional route of getting into the military and then military medicine. So I actually graduated high school a little bit early and went into the military. I joined the Marine Corps and I was planning to be enlisted. Was hoping to get the GI Bill to pay for college. And my very amazing recruiter at that time said, "Hey, Michelle, since you're going to college, I really think you should apply to the Naval Academy." And so I did, and I was in boot camp, and it was towards the end of boot camp, and I got that letter of acceptance to the preparatory school. I'll tell you, my drill instructors were not really happy about that because they don't really like, officers to be in boot camp. But I was very thrilled. I went through a year of NAPS, and then after that, I went to the Naval Academy. I actually transferred after 2 years because I knew at that point that I wanted to go into medicine, and they didn't at the time offer biology at the Naval Academy. So I finished up at Columbia, and there I was in active reserves. When I went back, actually when I got into medical school, my plan was to go back into the military, but I had just gotten married and I ended up actually getting pregnant, so that wasn't the time to go back. And then 6 years ago, when my youngest son was 5, I decided I really was missing something in my life. And my husband, who also was a prior Marine, knew that I had this passion and I really, really wanted to go back into the military. And he 100% supported me. Him and my 3 boys, they supported me going back in. And at that time, I went back in to the Army Reserves.
Excellent. Good. Well, I guess you left off a couple of branches there. We need to get you in the Coast Guard, space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, well, excellent. And you mentioned that recruiter. What a probably incredible role that person played in your life, right? That was trying to advocate for you to apply to the the Naval Academy and all that stuff, right?
Sergeant Anderson. I will never forget him. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Amazing.
I just visited a few weeks ago High Point University. So their president, his name's Nido Cubain, incredible guy. And, he was telling me he was just finishing up his autobiography, and he thinks that every human being should do an autobiography at some point in their lives. And he said, one of the things that surprised him the most when he was going through and he was writing a thing, how many angels there were in his life. Mm-hmm. And he said, he's a president of, university and stuff, and, people are always doing incredibly nice things for him now. But early on in his career, when, he said that there were just so many incredible angels that really just, were there for him, did good for him, and that sort of sounds like the sergeant, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Pivotal moments in your life from those angels, Yeah.
The ribbon cutting for OCOM, I had my public store manager. I grew up working at Publix. His name's Dave Freeborn. He was actually sitting in the front row, and again, one of those people that was an angel in my life, right? That made a big difference, and was there, and probably the first non-family member that really looked out for me, took an active role, and and I was pretty rough behind the collar or whatever they call it, So. Yeah. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah. And our student doctor, student doctor Vanessa Cruz, tell us about your pathway and how you're calling to military medicine.
I actually had a similar kind of situation, well, in terms of like an angel in my path. So when I was very little, I think it was second grade career day, I didn't want to be a princess or a rock star the way other little girls wanted to be. I wanted to be a police officer, a firefighter, and then I saw a Coast Guardsman. And he told us that his job was to protect not only his family, but the families of everyone in that room. So I thought that was pretty awesome. And I decided, when I grow up, I want to do the same thing. I want to protect many families. And so my interest in medicine, I guess, grew in like early elementary, middle school. And when I got to high school, I actually ended up running into some recruiters in high school. And I thought, you know what? I would kind of do maybe what Dr. Wallen was thinking and just join after school. But my parents, especially my mom, had some concerns about that. So I went ahead and I decided to pursue my undergrad career. And the great thing was when I was starting in undergrad, they actually had some presentations on HPSP and how you could just not have to pick either military or medicine. You could do both. So when I brought that idea to my family, they thought that was a really great idea to serve, not just the healthcare community, but the military community as well. And they really supported me. So I did have a bit of a struggle in applying to medical school, but, things work out for a reason. And then eventually, after a couple of recruiters, I ended up running into Sergeant Topolsky, and he was fantastic. He really helped inspire me into not really giving up. My mom and my sister were the same way. And I did get that acceptance to OCOM, and I was really happy to see that. And the struggle there was that they had actually just run out of Air Force scholarships when I got the acceptance. So I was like, oh, God, what am I going to do? Like, what other branch would I go to? But the wonderful thing is, not a couple of days later, I got the call, and they were like, you got the scholarship. So now I'm embarking on that military medicine journey, and I'm really excited.
Excellent. And yeah, Sergeant Topolsky. I know Sergeant Topolsky. Yeah. We at OCOM we have a great relationship with the recruiters, and they've been incredible so far. I mean, and they love OCOM. We had 10, and I believe 10 HPSPs in the inaugural class, which I mean it's probably the most number of HPSP scholarships, and I should tell it HPSP stands for Health Professional Scholarship Program, right?
Yes.
For the military. And then I believe historically there's it's the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. The Coast Guard does not have its own, and the Marines don't have. The Marines don't have a HPSP. I guess nor does the Space Space Force. But interesting enough, we actually also had a VA HPSP for the first time ever, which I've never had one of those in my career. That had a student to have the VA HPSP. It's a very uncommon type of thing. So that's awesome, and of course it says a lot for your class that your willingness to serve and to make a difference, and it's a pretty good deal. So I don't know if you want to talk about the HPSP, the benefits. Yeah.
So the wonderful benefit of the HPSP, I say first and foremost, is they do us the honor of paying us the 4 years of medical school. So that's a big worry off your back because you can just focus on being a good medical student. And we also get tuition for things like books, any other necessary materials like our scrubs, any other required tools or anything else that we need. And then we also get a monthly stipend. So it actually comes in bi-monthly. And yeah, it's good for paying for housing. It's good for just taking care of a bunch of other things. We also get provided with a community. We have a organization called SAMOPS, which is a stem from AMOPS, the Association of Military Osteopathic Physicians and Surgeons. So the wonderful thing is that students can join even before they are doctors. So you have a community where you can match with mentors, you can learn from other military medicine students across the country, which I think was really impactful because being in the inaugural class, we didn't really exactly have an upper class to look up to. So having that connection with SAMOPS and with AMOPS and getting to just talk with other students about what not just the medical career path would look like, but military medicine would look like was a wonderful benefit.
Excellent. And you'll when you go in the Air Force, which rank will you be?
So when we graduate from med school, I will also ascend to becoming a captain.
Nice. And then I think it's roughly around $3,000 a month, right? The stipend.
Yes, I believe. Yeah. And the good thing is it only goes up every year. So that's
Nice. Yeah, which is nice. You get full ride tuition, and you get $3,000 with and that's sort of like post-tax money. You don't have to pay taxes on it, right? Because it's considered a stipend. I think it's a heck of a deal.
It
and
is.
then obviously you have a 4-year payback. Yeah, so many things. And what rank are you, Dr. Wallen?
Major.
Major. Excellent. So good. Yeah, and of course the benefits. And you also benefited from some of the military benefits, right?
So I actually went back in. It wasn't as a loan repayment or anything like that. Mine was volunteer. But yeah, I mean, the pay, I guess, was just extra when I would go for drill. But yeah.
Yeah. And the other great thing is you're covered under sovereign immunity, so there's no malpractice, so you don't have to worry about, I mean, I guess theoretically you could have a malpractice lawsuit against you, but you're covered by the federal government and under tort reform, so
Yep.
it limits how that processing works,
That
right?
is a great thing, yes.
Yeah. And of course, you're highly respected, right? Captain, major, I mean, it's it's a pretty big rank.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking, the discussion before about being in the military and the military life versus the civilian life. And I just think that not only as a female, but just being in the military in general, it is something to be definitely proud of, but you learn leadership skills, you learn that respect, I just think there's something great to be learned from the military in general. And I've taken everything that I've learned from the military and I've definitely incorporated that into my, my civilian lifestyle and my civilian jobs.
Yeah. Well, OCOM's definitely benefited from your leadership skills, and you have incredible leadership skills, Dr. Wallen, and I would imagine
I
that
appreciate that.
some of those were learned
Yeah.
through the military, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And my mom, of course.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, I cannot commend the military enough for how they teach, everyone that goes through, whether it's the schooling or just enlisted. There's a different type of education that's brought in the military lifestyle, and I think the biggest part of that is respect and caring for people.
Yeah. Excellent. And Vanessa, you between first and second year, you've already done your first sort of. They don't call it boot camp though, do they?
no officer school.
Officer school. So what's that like?
I actually did not have an opportunity to go this summer. I ended up having some difficulties with just making it there, but we did have a couple students, I believe student Dr. Kevin Hutchison and then student Dr. Jared Ashby went to the Air Force Officer School, as well as a couple from the Army. And they said it was pretty strenuous. I think everyone kind of makes fun of, Air Force, Chair Force, but
Yeah.
it was still pretty tough out there. It wasn't just office work or paperwork or just sitting in classrooms. They were telling me that they were pushed to their physical limits a lot more than they thought they would be. I believe their final exercise was carrying a train tie.
Yeah.
For 4 miles, which I'm like, that's pretty heavy. So it's pretty out there. But the good thing is they came back with that knowledge, and now they're going to take that and educate the younger students and students like me who didn't get to go this year around, and just teach us how to be physically fit and ready and mentally prepared for officer school.
Excellent. And so when are you going to take yours?
So I am hoping to go in between taking step 1 and then having June to go to Alabama and then coming back in time for milestones and rotations.
Excellent. So
Yeah, I actually heard the whole training for the Air Force. And yeah, I think the expectations were they didn't expect what was coming. And I heard the inspections were pretty tough too.
I think they sent out a notice, I don't remember, maybe a couple weeks ago that they were no longer allowed to turn things over in rooms, and then they kind of rescinded that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's an adjustment, but it's a good one.
Yeah, so like inspections in the Marine Corps were like scary. Yeah, they go through with a white glove and they're checking, and I guess that's what I got from student Dr. Kevin Hutchinson. He was like, yeah, it was intense.
Wow. So not the Air Force, Chair Force.
No.
Cushy office, no.
That's funny. And so that's like a known thing, the Air Force Chair Force. I haven't heard that before.
Yes, yes. They think we're all cushy office jobs and stuff, but I guess we still got to learn how to stand on our own 2 feet.
I love it. So, and obviously there's, you have to go to residency after medical school, and there's, technically 4 types of matches in, America, right? You have the match, right? The NRMP match. You have the urology match. You have the San Francisco match, which, and those are just a few specialties. But then, of course, you have the military match. And that's for if you want to go into a military residency. And, so what are you thinking so far right now, as far as your career trajectories?
So we do have several options, which is great. So we can go ahead and apply for military match. And fingers crossed, everything works out. But there's also the options of civilian deferment and civilian sponsorship. So students have different options whether or not they want to continue on with that. So the wonderful thing is kind of having like both the option of military match and then matching also with everybody else in the program. I am actually thinking about military match. I do want to go active duty. I do want a career with the military for as long as I can. So I believe just going to residency with the military offers a lot of opportunities, and I'm thinking about doing operational medicine. I was actually in Virginia this past summer for a little bit, working with OGME for a little bit of time, and I found it really interesting, so I'm hoping to pursue that, but I will be happy just to match into any residency program, so I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. Yeah. And the nice thing about the military match is that occurs in December, and then, the other match is, March, right? So you have a little bit of time. So if you don't get into the military that you want to go to, then you can always, go into the regular match, right?
Like a second pass system, which is good. So that's good news for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I do know that the military, their application service is a little different because I think they're still on an email-based application, right?
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
I'm actually not always.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because typically all the other residency programs are through ERAS, which is the Electronic Residency Application Service, which in some ways makes it kind of easy because you can one application you kind of send it to them all. But I think with the military, it's a little. But you also have it's much smaller. I think there's less than 1,000 spots each year for the whole military, right?
Yes, yeah, and we get sort of like a published spreadsheet of exactly what positions they're looking for in different specialties. So it's good to get a heads up.
Yeah, good. Excellent. Well, that's great. So, I wanted to also kind of just explore a little bit about, both of your motivations and why you want to do this. And maybe if you could just kind of, maybe tell a little bit about, what really moves you to, military medicine.
So again, mine is not the traditional, but before going into medicine per se and just wanting to go into the military, it was kind of a shock for my mom as well. So I was a dancer during high school, and I had actually asked my mom if I could play soccer because both my brothers played, and she's like, "Oh no, you're gonna get muddy. You can't play soccer." So I was like, "I'll show you." No, and so I was very motivated. I knew I wanted to go to college, and I think just we grew up, and it was kind of hard. So I knew I was going to have to get something to help pay for school, and I thought this was going to be my best option. And honestly, it was the best option. And I chose the Marine Corps because I felt like it was going to be the most challenging. It was, but it was like one of the most awesome challenges ever. And so then from there, then went my pathway. And then again, going back 6 years ago, why I decided to go back in and like why that was what I wanted to do, because the military brought this type of camaraderie, right? Like you become a family with the people that you're with in the military, and they look out for you. They have your back. Like you just feel like it's your family outside of your family. And that's why I did it. And yeah, and every time, I would go to drill or when we would do training, it just felt very good because everyone was on the same page and everyone felt the same. They were all there for each other.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. You ever think about, maybe, being one of those lifers, I think is what they call it, right? Yeah. Yeah.
For me, no. So, the path for me because of OCOM and just working clinically. So I felt as my boys had been getting older, that was kind of actually one of the struggles for me, trying to find the balance. So going to drill, going to training, and seeing them, because I work a lot clinically and then here, so I had to make that decision. So for me, it was, unfortunately, I'm not going to be a lifer, but I like cherish the time that I've had in the military.
Well, you're a Wonder Woman. I don't know how you do all you do, and it's pretty remarkable. And well, student Dr. Cruz, how about you? Do you think you might be a quote unquote lifer? Yeah.
Yeah, that is originally what I am planning, but like Dr. Wallen said, sometimes life changes, and I'm open to making certain different, or at least taking a look at different routes depending on what ends up happening with family. If I get married, have kids, and all that stuff. But as of now, I do want to serve at least for as long as possible, outside of the 8 years that are required for the scholarship. So I guess we'll see how that pans out. But I'm excited to just serve in any way.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, and then my understanding is that the time during medical school actually counts towards retirement. If I understand it correctly, which it didn't used to. Actually, one of our clinical faculty members, a former medical student of mine, his name's Visong Tring. He's Chief Medical Informatics Officer for the Navy and the Pacific. And, my understanding, I think he actually was one that sort of advocated for the time during medical school to count towards thing. And I would imagine the residency time, if you go to a military residency, that would also count towards retirement, right? Into the military.
That's actually news to me. I thought it wouldn't count since we're not officially, I guess, an active component. But if it does, that'd be great. I know.
That's huge.
Yeah, it helps start adding some years. So that's really great.
Yeah, at least that's my understanding. And he's Navy, so I don't maybe different with the Air Force or something. I don't know, but that's my understanding. But so and I think it's 20 years, right? 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually have some students here. First year that we had just joined, we have a couple prior service, but I believe he served 15 years.
Wow.
Sergeant, is that right?
I think Rafael, Sergeant Rafael Rosado. Yeah,
it's awesome.
That's a lot of time.
Wow. So we'll keep an eye out for the next 20 years, and hopefully if things work out, Good. All right. So, as we wrap things up here, any final thoughts or any advice for other folks thinking about a career in medicine, military medicine, Dr. Wallen?
Yeah, I would just say it's an incredible opportunity. If you feel like you want to dedicate yourself to medicine and then also have that dedication to the military and serving, definitely look into it. It was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. So I would highly recommend.
Excellent. Good. And how about you, student Dr. Cruz?
Same. I would say I know there's some concerns when it comes to serving in the military, but I think this experience has been really rewarding, and there are a lot of options for what pathways you can take and what specialties, what you want your career and your life to look like. So I don't believe there's any huge limiting factors preventing someone from at least considering this path. There's a lot of benefits, like Dr. Wallen said, the camaraderie, the family spirit, the motivation to sort of just get up and get going, being able to serve this country. So I believe that at least if someone's interested, the best thing to do is ask questions, get to know more. There's always plenty of students willing to talk about this program and how amazing it is, and plenty of faculty here to talk about their experience with serving. So I would say it's a worthwhile pursuit.
Excellent. Good. All right. Any final last comments before we wrap things up?
Thank you for your service, Dr. Wallen.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
And thank you for having us.
Well, thank you both for your service. Excited, appreciative and grateful for you, Dr. Wallen, and excited for the future of military medicine, and thank you both. So, well, that concludes another episode of the OCOM podcast, Modern Medical Education. Please join us again in the next episode where we talk about new aspects of modern medical education.